Oh, man. This next thing that I want to talk about just happened. There was a lawsuit against, let's just read it. I'm just going to chill out. We're going to read it. We're going to process it. I'm going to find some reactions, see if anybody has good reactions on this situation right now. Okay. I have something in my throat, but I'm going to try to read this. Excuse me. Excuse me. I don't know what happened. That protein shake got me all stuffy. Missouri jury finds realtors, brokerages guilty of conspiring to inflate commissions. That sounds bad. This is on Housing Wire. Don't know how reputable, but we'll do some research. But let's see what the journalism is looking like, because you can't believe anything these days. Everything on the internet is a damn lie. You got to read like 10 different articles and get the right sense of everything, and they're all lying probably. All right. After 2 weeks of testimony, the Kansas City jury found the National Association of Realtors, Home Services, and Keller Williams guilty of collusion. All right. A Kansas City jury has found. Oh, okay. We just read that. They're guilty of colluding to inflate or maintain high commission rates through National Association of Realtors, Clear. Oh my God, cooperation rule in the Sitzer Burnett Buyer Broker Commission lawsuit. I'm going to have to explain a lot of things, but hold on. Let me. Emily said, to wrap up the previous thing, better hope they are allocating properly to reserves, because something breaks or needs repaired and there isn't enough money in reserves to cover it, they will special assess for it, which basically means they could charge you guys more money above your agreed HOA dues to fix stuff if they don't have enough money. Many people don't realize that then are paying mortgage payment, HOA fee, and special assessment, which can really hurt some people's pockets. Yes. So they can make you pay even more money if they mismanage the community. So if they mess up, they'll just take more of your money. It's fine. It's fine. No problem. Anyway, back to this groundbreaking case. And if you notice, it was October 31st. So yesterday this was written. Sorry, I'm stuffy. The jury reached its verdict after a little over 2 weeks of testimony from the plaintiffs and defendants. During their testimony, the home seller plaintiffs, so it was home sellers, and their lead attorney, Michael Ketchmark, argued that despite the defendants having antitrust rules and regulations in place, the trade group and corporate brokerages knowingly violated their own rules in order to maintain high commission rates. Since I've been in real estate, this has been a touchy subject about commissions, because when you go through real estate school, they do tell you commissions are always negotiable. And when you go to your brokerage, commissions are always negotiable. And in the contract, commissions are always negotiable. But they do a lot of tricks and things to try to make sure that they're getting around 6%. Judge Stephen Buch, who is overseeing the suit, still needs to issue his final judgment on the case before the verdict is final. He has wide latitude in issuing injunctive relief, so we don't know what's going to happen yet. But the judge can do whatever, he has a wide breadth of options. In the worst case scenario for the defendants, which is the National Association of Realtors, I'll refer to them as NAR, and Keller Williams and some other brokerages. I'm sorry, names can't do it. Could ban the cooperative compensation rule nationally on the multiple listing services, which would prevent listing agents and home sellers from predetermining buyer agent commission rates. Listing agents would also be prohibited from sharing commissions with buyer agents, and buyer agent commission rates would not be published in the MLS. This is what got my attention. Okay. What this is essentially saying is, and this is worst case, this is like the most damaging, impactful thing that the judge could rule, is that Let me read it again. They could ban the cooperative compensation rule nationally on the MLS services, which is how we like where all the real estate information comes from and is the agreement between all agents to essentially work together. They could prevent listing agent. A listing agent is the person selling or putting the house for sale for someone that wants to sell their house. Now, a listing agent makes an agreement with the seller. I'm going to list your house under these terms and conditions, and here's the commission, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Let me know if you guys are following, not following. You're going to learn a lot about the nuance of real estate if you watch this, though. And this is really important. It's a good teaching moment to show you how real estate works and how things happen behind the scenes that you don't know about as a customer or a client, and how maybe it might change and it might be good or bad. And I'm going to give what I think about it in real time because I'm just processing this stuff as well. Okay, so they could ban. Could ban cooperative compensation rule nationally on the MLS, which would prevent listing agents and home sellers from predetermining buyer agent commission rates. Let me read some more and I'll explain what that means. Listing agents would also be prohibited from sharing commissions with buyer agents, and buyer agent commission rates would not be published in the MLS. Okay, so what this means when you want to sell your house, say you want to hire me to sell your house right now. What I'm going to do, or one of my agents is going to do, is present you a listing agreement, which gives us the right to list the property in the multiple listing service or MLS. Our MLS in our local region is called Bright. There's different organizations that run different MLSs, which is kind of annoying, to be honest. So we're going to get the right to publish the property in the MLS. Us as realtors and real estate agents or anyone signed with the MLS has to sign an agreement to follow certain rules for properties to go on to the MLS. One of those rules or things that you do is list what you would pay the cooperating agent. And what that means is when I list your house for sale, every agent part of that multiple listing service can see that property and has access to request showings and be able to do whatever they need to do to show their client the property. So they might have an agreement with the buyer to work with the buyer and help the buyer find a property. Okay. So I represent the seller, and the other agent, the cooperating agent, either through the MLS represents the seller, or generally now they would be a buyer agent if they have an agreement with the buyer. So the reason, but right now what's happening is buyer agents do not have generally a commission agreement with the buyer. They sometimes it depends on the language in the buyer agency agreement, but usually it says that the buyer's agent will accept the commission offered in the cooperating commission. The cooperating commission rule that is listed from the seller. So, for example, when I sign a deal with Mr. Seller, it will include how much of the commission we're offering to the buyer side. So, just for example, if the commission was 6%, we could choose whatever number we want, but we're going to list the property and offer the other agent who brings the buyer 3%. So that means that the listing agent would get 3% and the buyer's agent, the incentive for them to take their qualified buyer to look at our property is that if they close on the property, they're going to get 3%. Okay. You could offer them 2.5%, you could offer them 2%, but that is in the MLS. So I'll show you guys actually what that looks like. Let's get some inside baseball here. All right. So let me log in. I don't want you seeing all my info, but I'll show you on a property. Let's just look for a house. And I'm going to show you what it looks like in the multiple listing service as far as a property. Why is this taking me so long to find something? Sorry, everyone. Wow, there's a lot of houses for sale here. Okay. Let me share my screen here. All right, so this is a property that is in the multiple listing service, and this is what it looks like, right? So there's the address. It's for $400,000, and this is what I'm saying. The MLS will provide you a lot of information about the property. There are agent notes. I don't want to get into all that kind of stuff, but what you will see is what they are offering as a commission compensation. This is for a cooperating broker. They're offering 2.5% of the of the gross sales price to any buyer agent that brings a buyer, and they're doing this stupid minus 150, which they really need to stop doing. So that's why. Okay, so this is the inside baseball part. Imagine if they were only offering 1%. You, as an agent, now they're getting paid less. So say there's 5 properties that me as a buyer's agent, now in this scenario, was going to, that a client wanted to see. But one of those properties was offering 3%, and the other property was offering 1% in the cooperating agreement. Which one do you think the buyer's agent wants them to buy, their client? The one where they get 3%. And this is something that agents are not going to tell you what they're getting paid when they look at that cooperating buyer agreement or commission agreement. So sometimes things can get weird because if you're dealing with someone that's a little less ethical, or they need to pay their bills, they might urge their client to buy the property that has a higher commission listed, which could cause, and I think that's part of the case here, is that if the commission is lower, people are not going to want to look or encourage their clients to look at those properties. Now, you can't out and right not show the property, but you could be like, what an agent could do is trash the property, not physically trash the property, but they could be like, are you sure about these carpets? Looks like it has a stain here. Oh, the paint is I don't know. They shouldn't really have flat paint here. It should be at least eggshell. Oh, well, aren't you concerned about the pool? Like, this is things that an agent can do if he or she wants to persuade you to a different property that the commission is higher. And this is really nasty work. And that's why integrity is really important in this business, because this happens to clients every day. They just don't know. And it can happen on the seller side as well. The way that it happens on the seller side, and this is getting away from the case a little bit, but if you can get the buyer and the seller together yourself, now you get to keep both sides of the commission, so you get paid more. So if you have a buyer and there's another offer that's going against your offer, but you could get paid double if they take your buyer, what do you think some people are going to do? They're going, especially if the offers are close, they might encourage the seller to take the offer where they get paid more. That is nasty and is unethical, and no one should do that. But I see it happen every day, and the client doesn't know. And that's a problem. So, what they're proposing is to take that percentage out of the cooperating agreement so that it's not in the MLS, which would mean that anytime someone wanted to show a piece of real estate that's listed on the MLS, the first thing they're going to ask you is, what's the commission that you're offering for me to show this property? So if you could imagine, if you want to look at 10 properties, your agent is going to have to ask each one of them people to make sure that you're offering a reasonable commission. Because if they're saying, hey, I'll give you $1, which there's agents that do that, but at least it's listed so you don't have to ask. You'd have to ask now, which would create inefficiency in the market. And I don't think it solves the problem per se. The other thing that could happen, and this makes sense in certain markets because I was considering doing this, is the buyer the agent that works with the buyer, and this might make sense, has to come to some kind of agreement to pay that buyer's agent. Either it's up front or at closing, which maybe you roll it into the closing costs of purchasing the house or something like that. But agents don't work for free. And if it's a commission, they need to know what the commission is before they start working. So if you take away the listing to show what the buyer's agent would get paid, they're going to have to do something to figure that out. Now, does this help not like because what they're trying to do is stop like making a standard commission, and it should be negotiable. It should be a market rate. Does this ruling do that? I'm not sure. So let's continue to read a little bit. All right. In response to this verdict, Mantle Williams, a spokesperson for National Association of Realtors, said the trade group will be appealing the jury's verdict, of course, and will also ask the court to reduce damages. We stand by the fact that the National Association of Realtors guidance for local MLS broker marketplaces ensures consumers get comprehensive, equitable, transparent, and reliable home information, and that brokerages of any size, service, or pricing model get a fair shot at competing. This is important because housing has a history of discrimination, and one of the ways that they would discriminate is you could not get the information before the internet, before this was public. You would have to go in a realtor office, and only the realtors had the books of information of the properties that were available. They were like big black books that they would get every week. So they could just freeze you out and not show you the information. I think having the commissions and everything listed public or within the organization, within the MLS, is transparent and is it is not exclusionary. Exclusionary? I can't say words, sorry. All right. So he also said, we will continue to focus on our mission to advocate for homeownership and always put consumer interests first. It will likely be several years before this case is finally resolved. So, guys, this is probably nothing. We're not going to see any real movement on this, but this could be groundbreaking for how real estate operates. I do want to say that I have to be careful here because I am a realtor. I think a lot of these trade organizations, their main goal really is to make the barriers of entry as difficult as possible so that they can keep the money and power. So they want to make it hard for other people to get involved. That's why you see NAR freak out about Zillow, Redfin. Anytime someone does something a little bit differently or erodes the power and control of the Association of Realtors or or the multiple listing services or anything like that, they get very prickly and they want to scare all their agents and get everybody up in arms to defend the status quo. Me as an individual, I don't mind change, and I do think that there are some inefficiencies, although I do think the way realtors operate and how everything operates is not terrible. And I think that generally clients are served quite well. Could things be better? I think so. I don't know if this is going to make things better though. This Daryl Frost, the spokesperson for Keller Williams, said that crucial evidence was not allowed to be entered and alluded to an appeal being filed. Everybody with these appeals. We are disappointed that before the jury decided this case, the court did not allow them to hear crucial evidence that cooperative compensation is permitted under Missouri law. He said in a statement following the verdict, this is not the end. Keller Williams and I want to say, like, Keller Williams is just getting beat up because they're a big name. Like, everyone operates like this right now. And so don't think Keller Williams is particularly, bad or anything like that, because I definitely don't think that's fair. Okay, they're just getting the biggest name, the biggest money. They're going to get named first. All right, Keller Williams filed the law regarding cooperative compensation and stands by the evidence presented on the 100-year-old practice of seller agents offering commissions to other agents who help market and sell homes. Looking forward, we will consider all options as we assess the verdict and trial record, including avenues of appeal. So the thing is, if they get rid of the system, which apparently is 100 years old, if your buyer's agents are just going to charge you money up front so that guarantees that they get paid, or that when you close, you will owe them a certain amount of money. I think that's the easiest solution, but that's not going to be, I mean, it's kind of good actually, because if you pay your agent, less of that funny stuff where they could be pushing you in one way or the other could happen. So I do think maybe that's a marginal improvement, but who really wants to pay the agent up front when you can just have it paid from the seller's commission? Although sellers kind of don't like that, but it's kind of paying it forward, because when you buy your first house, you're really not paying buyer commission generally under most circumstances now. So then when you sell your house, now you're paying the full commission, because you're paying for the buyer and the seller. I'm cool with some flexibility here, though. We could seek more creative stuff, but we do want to be careful about strange incentive structures for agents, and we want to make sure that the goals of the client and the agent are aligned and that everyone is working for the betterment of the client. And trust me, National Association of Realtors and everybody in the real estate schools and everything, ethics is very important, and I think most agents follow that. I do think when it gets a little gray and blurry, it could be a bit problematic with, if there's a dramatic difference between the commission on one property versus another, things like that. It could get a little weird, right? So if you got a flat commission for working with a buyer, or it could be based off of the price of the property and not dependent on what the seller was offering as a commission, the buyer's agent is going to be is basically going to be unbiased, which is helpful. So I would admit that probably is a bit of an improvement, but it's marginal. I don't think this really is a huge issue right now. A spokesperson from Home Services similarly vowed to appeal the ruling in Missouri. Today's decision means that buyers will face even more obstacles. This is true in an already challenging real estate market, and sellers will have a harder time realizing the value of their homes. I don't know. That part's true. I think you're adding another cost to the buyer, essentially, is what you're doing. Now, maybe someone can come up with a creative way to solve this, but it does seem that this would negatively impact buyers. Definitely positive for sellers, I think, because they'd be paying less commission. Um, Maybe there's less buyer agents that are incentivized, but I don't think that's a problem in this current market. The spokesperson said it could also force home buyers to forego professional help during what is likely the most complex and consequential financial transaction they'll make in their lifetime. Didn't think about that. Okay, so it's like an attorney, right? Like, say you have a legal issue, um, but you would be allowed to handle it yourself. You would represent yourself. If you don't have money, you're kind of forced to do that, and now you're going to get worse representation. And I used to think that the normal person probably could do a real estate transaction by themselves, but no, I think you're going to hurt yourself doing that. To be honest, you aren't going to negotiate. You don't know how the market is. You're not going to be able to negotiate. You're not going to know your contingencies, inspections. Like, there's a lot of stuff with a real estate transaction that is not common sense and not something that the regular person is going to do well. So, but if they don't, but what's going to happen is they're not going to want to pay the agent. So they're going to just be contacting people trying to buy houses on their own, and they're going to get screwed. And honestly, this hurts. This can hurt minorities more. But I did want to say the point about um, not the minority point yet, but we'll go there. So just to clarify a little bit more, if you're on trial for something and you can't afford a good attorney, they give you an attorney because representing yourself is so horrible. Um, they're not going to give you a buyer's agent for free. So now you're unrepresented and you're not going to do a good job. And I think that is going to hurt. And again, basically lower income people are going to be hurt more because the people with money can hire lawyers and do all that stuff to protect themselves. And now you're going to have to hire, a real estate agent. They're just going to go without it and be behind, right? Because if you have a lawyer, stuff gets done for you really a lot better. And so if you had a real estate agent working for you, you probably get access to properties um, a lot easier than if you were unrepresented. Because right now, if you're not represented, sellers agents are going to love to work with you. But now they don't represent you. It causes a whole, a different kind of problem. I actually handled a transaction where the seller was not represented and I represented the buyer. I ended up having to do all the work and make sure that the transaction got done for both sides. And it was a really strange situation because I represented only the buyer, but the seller was like violating things and not working right. And I'd have to coach them and teach them how to do the transaction, but I wasn't getting paid for it. And then the buyer could think that, you're like colluding with the seller. Meanwhile, you're just trying to help facilitate the transaction. So that's an interesting situation. Let's read some more. Okay. In a statement, Home Services said the cooperative compensation rule helps ensure millions of people realize the American dream of home ownership with the help of real estate professionals. Okay, whatever. That's propaganda. A spokesperson for Anywhere Real Estate also provided a statement noting that the company chose to settle in the case in early October without admitting wrongdoing. The jury verdict, while disappointing, does not alter our settlement, and we look forward to obtaining court approval and implementing our settlement agreement. Anywhere spokesperson said Anywhere strongly believes in the value of both buyer and seller agents to help consumers successfully navigate one of life's most expensive and impactful transactions. We remain fully committed to supporting all agents as they expertly serve their clients. And yeah, it's a breaking news story. I believe Remax and another company made a settlement. So it's interesting. I wonder what the settlement was. Like, are they going to change how I don't think probably nothing, right? Um but could they change their company policy for how commissions are done? And are they going to change it substantially? Like, are we going to notice, or is it just going to be like some verbiage that they write or something? I don't know. Let's see. I want to react. There's some guys in California. I came across their video. So let's see what they're talking about, because there's not a lot of content about this. So hopefully we can rank in the YouTube algorithm, huh?
Hey guys, Ben.
Real quick, this is title is The Real Estate Commission Lawsuit Explained and Analyzed. Living in Los Angeles, Ben and Balick. Sorry about the names. So I think these guys are real estate people. Don't know if they're agents yet. Hopefully we can figure that out. In LA, so they're probably doing real good money. I'm a little jealous because of the average sales price out there. Let's see what their perspective is. Let's be wary of bias. I will give you guys my opinion about their analysis of what I just read when I already gave you kind of my point of view. And they've got, look, Variety magazines, things behind them. Oh God, LA people. Sorry, I don't know. All right, let's give them a chance.
Belak and Zach
I like
Goldsmith
his watch.
Reporting live
like
on the
watch.
scene
His
of
watch
what
too.
might be the biggest sea change in the real estate
It's a
sector
Rolex.
since Zillow. A class action lawsuit that could
Was Zillow that impactful? Oh yes, because then now the public could see the MLS. That is a big deal.
upend the way agents are paid commissions continues to move forward, with a trial date expected sometime in 2024. In a May 30th telephone conference, U.S. District Court Judge Andrea Wood laid out a timeline of what's next in the Merrill versus the National Association of Realtors et al. Case. Okay. Welcome back to another episode of To Litigate and Buy in Los Angeles.
I think things are worse than you're making it. All right, look, what's at stake? And why does it matter to you? I think we should tell him this. Okay, we'll explain that. But first, let's discuss what is this Morrell case? How do you pronounce it? Morrell?
I think it's
moron?
Merrill.
Let's call him moron.
I hope we're talking about the same case.
Named after home seller Christopher Moron. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Careful, I don't want them coming after us.
Brutal.
Oh, you could just add another one to his plate. So it's now a class action lawsuit that involves home sellers who are suing the National Association of Realtors, which is America's largest trade association with over 1.5 million members. They're also suing several other major brokerages.
Look, man, this is the issue with the NAR is they bully you and force you to be a part of it. And I mean, they do some good work, I guess, but like you have to pay a lot of fees to be part of the National Association of Realtors. And what that does is give you access to all the stuff I'm talking about. And if you're not part of that trade organization, you are boxed out of a lot of things, and they make it hard to practice real estate. That's why almost everyone is part of the NAR, just to give you some context.
Is including Anywhere Real Estate, formerly Reology.
And I talked about, I like freedom. Okay. So I don't like to be so restricted.
Reology? Pronounce that. Which is a publicly owned real estate services company that owns several real estate brands, including Century 21, Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's, to name a few.
The agency?
No. Also being sued are Remax, Keller Williams, and over 20 other multiple listing services throughout the country. Now, the lawsuit claims that NAR and others participated in anti-competitive practices by forcing sellers into a system where they pay a commission that is split between buyer and seller's agents. In other words, the claim is that NAR contracts force sellers to pay buyers' agents' commissions. That's the claim. The plaintiff.
Do they force them? Not exactly, but they make it feel like it is.
Plaintiffs believe,
and when I say they, I mean all of us, basically.
This system has led to inflated buyer agent fees to the detriment of home sellers. And they argue that home buyers should pay for their own agents. NAR and other defendants refute that claim, saying sellers can pay buyers' brokers as little as $1 or 1 penny. They really don't have to pay them anything.
Hey, you know what? You want to incentivize a buyer's agent to bring and sell your property. I say offer $1 commission. It's smart.
That's part of their argument, is that you can.
So just to clarify, that this is showing when you look at the multiple listing service as an agent, you see how much they're offering if you bring a buyer to the property and they end up buying it. And they're saying they can offer you anything up to $1. So it is open.
secretly through private marks offer them a lower incentives or greater incentives to show your property. They don't like that.
Here's the thing: if you offer a low incentive, less buyers agents are going to show the property, even though technically if it's the right property for their client, they have a bit of a responsibility to show them that property.
The counter to that is that agents will steer away from lower commissions, which are publicized. You don't buy it. Look, in 2021, discount brokerage Rex Real Estate released 700 calls with agents from across the nation. The calls showed agents wouldn't show properties with lower commissions. You don't believe that?
No. I believe it, but
they have to be out of line, though. It'd have to be like really low, I think, for most agents to like not show it completely. But where the nuance is, and maybe they'll talk about it, is if it's a 2% commission, and then say your client likes 2 houses and one's 2% commission and one's 3%, the words that you say to them that may or may not influence them about the 2%, you might be less persuasive. And I'm not look, I think for me personally, the ethics trump everything. If it's the right house, I got to tell them it's the right house, regardless of what I'm getting paid. And I've definitely done that in plenty of situations. But you don't want to create a system. We're talking about creating a system. We're talking about big picture stuff here in this live today. And so just like the HOA system is getting out of hand, we don't want to create a system that disincentivizes certain houses to not get shown. We want our buyers to be able to look at everything equally, and the buyer's agent to not put their thumb on the scale one direction or the other because of commission. I think that would serve everyone best. The sellers complaining about having to pay all the commission is a problem, though. Well, is it a problem? Is it not? I mean, I get where they're coming from, at least. And if you guys are in here, this is an interactive show. So ask your questions, comment. It doesn't have to be about what we're talking about in the video. I'll answer any real estate related or business questions. Chop it up with me, whatever you want to talk about. We do have a link if you want to hop on and like be on video, or just you can call me. I have all kinds of different ways. So if you're interested in chopping it up, let me know and you can hop on a call or just comment. All right. So let's continue. I like these guys so far. They're doing a really good job. This is actually pretty hard to do, articulating the legal stuff. So I like the video so far.
Talk about this at the end.
So transparency is a key point the plaintiffs are pushing for. Meanwhile, NAR believes the existing platform provides that transparency, market-driven pricing options for home buyers and sellers.
I think so.
We got a big battle here.
I mean, the transparency part, I don't get. It's like buyers agents don't care what listing agents are getting paid, and
yes,
they also assume that it's the same amount.
No.
Not the cap.
No, that's false. It's annoying when I see that minus $150 to the buyer side commission. Why are you taking some of my money to put in your pocket? That is annoying. I don't do that. And we're, that's something that we don't like to do at Artie Real Estate. And you won't know what they're getting paid till you see the final documents at closing. But if I see that I'm getting 2% and they're getting 4%, when I see that agent again or I deal with them, I'll keep that in the back of my mind, because generally not that it's ethical or not, but like as a realtor community, if you're taking the bigger side of the commission all the time, you're kind of a dick. Ace, what's up, bro? Hopefully, we've been covering some heavy stuff here. I do think this is super informative, and if you really are interested in real estate, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of insider information or like insider stuff about how real estate really works between agents, and also the whole HOA thing. I think we covered that quite well. So I have a stuffy nose. I can't talk. Ugh. All right. I blew my nose right in the mic. I'm sorry.
If it's a half a point difference because the listing agent's paying.
Okay, I overreacted. A half point, no one cares.
$30,000 to stage a house, so be it.
I do like this Rolex. I don't like the gold and the silver mix there on the watch, but I don't have a Rolex, so I should shut the F up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the impact here. If the plaintiffs prevail, agent compensation will fundamentally change. MLS.
I can't wait to know what their perspective is, because I have not read anything or looked at anything other than the case. So let's see what these random LA agents that look pretty successful. I don't know what's going on. Their studio, their office looks really cool. I wonder what, like, are we on the same page?
Will have to alter the way they do business. Not much, but they will. And the defendants could have to pay out a massive amount in damages. So it's a class action lawsuit. Thousands of home sellers who paid a commission to the specified companies that Zach just mentioned from 2015 to 2020, as well as the current and future sellers engage with those entities right now, could be compensated if the plaintiffs win, not just to the handful that initially filed suit in 2019. So total damages could exceed $13 billion, a mind-boggling sum. A real estate industry expert, Russ Cafano, pointed out in a recent column, the market cap of anywhere is around $650 million. Or
you said it looks like an Oyster Perpetual, your go-to Rolex. Yeah, yeah, I think that's what it is the Oyster, which is has really good resale value. Yeah, Submariner. Yeah, because it has that dial, right? That dial is like a diver's watch. Is it called the bezel? I'm just getting into it. I got a lot of financial things planned, but I do got to get. I want to get an AP or a Lang and Sohn, which is a German watch. That's what I've been looking at. But I'm not broke, but I can't allocate that money to a watch today. Yeah, dive watch dial for timing dives. Yeah, yo, the watches are dope, yo. Don't put diamonds in them, though. Okay, that we can't be doing that. I know, take my black card, but no diamonds in the watch. All right, back to this.
Less than 5% of the claim damages.
I mean, it's good to be an attorney.
I'd say so.
I mean, let's take a look at the tail of the tape here. NAR and other corporate defendants are rep by Schiff Harden LLP, one of the oldest law firms in Chicago, who've repped the likes of AT&T and Michael Jordan. The plaintiffs are rep by 9 different law firms who have a track record of winning billion-dollar settlements against corporate giants, including Apple, Big Tobacco, Samsung, Toyota, and Visa, to name a few. So it's evident that because of the size of the case and the likelihood of appeals, this could take years before a final outcome is reached. And while some homeowners might be excited by this, some real estate agents are shaking in their boots. And I got to tell you, if you're a homeowner or a buyer, it's also bad.
You know which homeowners are excited by this right now? For real.
Who?
The same dum-dums that do for sale by owner.
Oh, they can't wait.
They're like, yep, I knew it. So requiring buyers to come up with the additional funds needed to compensate their broker at closing would make it significantly less likely that first-time and other aspiring buyers could afford a home.
Yeah, well, I mean,
a family purchasing a $250,000 home.
That's true.
For example,
where's a $250,000
see its closing costs increase by 42% if also covering, say, a 3% commission. And before you ask, the bank's not going to let you finance the commissions.
Facts.
So it's going to do something. I think this is like ULA. It's like they thought they saw.
Yeah, that might eat up your down payment, right? So if you're buying a property, you're going to have to come out of pocket at closing for whatever the buyer commission is if there's no commission offered and the seller's not going to offer any kind of commission.
They could see the matrix here and they're going to outsmart everyone, but they don't realize that the market is the market. It's working. This is working.
It is working.
Why are we taking it apart? Something that's working.
It is working.
Most real estate agents don't make much money. We'll talk about that in our wrap-up.
Listen, that's why it's so imperative that buyers have one agent repping them. So they have one quarterback looking out for their best interests rather than who can close something fastest. Is that your quarterback arm?
It's pretty bad, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to use more body.
Good receiver,
yeah, right?
Not
More body in that.
Yeah.
It's imperative that you have one quarterback rather than a slew of agents looking to close you fastest, which is they don't give a shit what you buy. They just want you to buy something your best interest is not in mind.
By the way, that's kind of the same script I say when.
So that is a thing about if this is a problem right now. So during the pandemic, there was 1 million buyers, and I was driving around going crazy, working with a lot of people, but offers were harder to get accepted, especially because a lot of my people are FHA, first-time buyers, because I promote home ownership and getting your foot in the door and all that kind of stuff. So very challenging to work with them, and I don't get paid till they close. And what happened is I'm working with a lot of people and they would get discouraged. They were qualified and would be able to buy, but there was the competition at the time in 2020 was so challenging that a lot of people fell off. So I'm losing time and money driving people around, showing houses, writing offers, negotiating, and then you can't get the deal done and you get nothing as a buyer's agent. Now, the reason you do that is like normally you're going to get paid. Like it's still going to make sense for you as a buyer's agent, but the success to failure rate started to get bad where I was like, I need to charge like a upfront retainer, like buyer commission, $500. I'll refund you at closing or something, because if they end up not closing after you showed them 30 houses and you wrote 10 offers and I'm not knocking the buyers because they wrote good offers. They did everything they could and still couldn't get the house. Well, they're disappointed and I'm disappointed because now I don't get paid anything. So the other benefit of this in a way is, there's a benefit of hiring a buyer's agent that isn't so pressed to get you closed, whether they're getting paid an upfront fee or something like that, because their advice, they'll be less biased. They will just be incentivized a little bit better to represent your interests. And I do think that is a thing. And I'm not saying, and again, I think most people are ethical, and I think it's the way things are now is working. But I think you would see a slight difference in how people represent their buyers, because there are buyers that, if they're on the fringe, first-time buyers or people that are barely able to buy and not in the greatest situation, I don't think they're getting represented that well, because this issue that I'm just talking about is where, if I don't think I can even get them closed, but maybe I can, once in a while you show them this is an issue because you're running a business, so you can't allocate a high priority to somebody that is very likely that you won't get paid. I mean, you can, and I do. It's a touchy subject, right? But I'm trying to talk about the reality of how this stuff works. So I think on the lower end, there is a disservice to those people, and it's unfortunate. And I don't like it because my favorite thing is getting the underdog, the house, and I have people that I've worked with like 5 years ago. They're doing so much better. They have equity in their properties, and like they barely could afford to get in the house. And sometimes I just talk to them, and like they had kids, and like now maybe they want to sell their house and upgrade and now improve their life. I love that so much. So, that's the real reason why I do this stuff. But it is a business, and I can't just be running around and not getting paid. So there is an interesting argument to make for paying the agent up front in a way.
People are like, oh, we're going to work with the agent who brings us the property. I'm like, so you're incentivizing them to close you first because that's their only incentive instead of servicing you. Like, why not pick someone, give them a shot? We all see the same MLS.
Right.
And if they find it, great. If they don't, then maybe move on. But this is the same model.
Well, this is a more complex market, right?
Yeah, in complex markets like ours, the Redfin agents have really struggled. I mean, they have really struggled not only to compete, but also they're not really incentivized to do a good job. They're incentivized to like get you there and go on appointments and that's it.
Close you as fast as possible.
Yeah, they don't know what historically. I'm not saying anything bad about Redfin, but like historically, the agents when they call us, it's like,
yeah, Redfin, they get paid to show you the property, and like the way they work is, I don't want to trash them either because there's a lot of politics in real estate, but I don't think I wouldn't hire them.
They don't really know the comparables or anything, particularly in the north of Sunset.
Well, I think it's big. You're big on, the free shouting out the brokers are free. This is the whole argument here.
Yeah, I think agents need to stop immediately saying that. Well, we're free, meaning the buyer's agents. They have to stop saying that because they're doing it. First of all, they're not free. Someone's paying them. Sure, the buyers aren't.
Right.
I think there's another way to demonstrate your value to a prospective consumer who's thinking about using you. Then you don't cost them any money. There's more to it. There's more to it.
Facts.
I mean, I think that would not help the cause for value when pitching to have a buyer pay you out of pocket.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? But
yeah, I like that. See, that's the thing. I like, look, as a professional, and I love helping the underdog, but people don't respect free. So that's why I've been toying with this retainer thing. Like, $500. You can work with somebody else for free, but if you want to work with somebody who's going to give you the right stuff that you need and really leverage their experience and prioritize you, I mean, they need to be invested in some kind of way. And it's not even about the money. It's more about what them being willing to write you a check says.
No one said that. Who? Remax agents?
No. A lot of agents.
Like, if you run around saying I'm free, who's going to respect you?
Like to first time buyer.
And I didn't used to say that, right? So I would be like, yeah, it's free, but because you're so thirsty. But you gotta put value on yourself.
They're like, if someone they call them, it's a popular objection manager historically, where someone's like, I got it, I'm on Zillow, and it's like, well, no, I'm free. Why wouldn't you want someone in your corner that has experience and knows what they're doing if I'm free? It's kind of hard to ignore, but we have to stop saying that. Yeah, but
okay, hold on. But why would you say you're free? Like, you have so many more. Being free isn't your value proposition, right? The fact that I know the market, I know how to negotiate. I know the inspectors. I could hook you up with the proper loan officer. I might know the agent who's selling the house. I know this area. Oh, I know, 6 months ago, this is what was happening. Not I'm free. Why? Don't lead with that. That's nasty. And I'm not saying these guys are. I'm just saying, like, it seems like a weak argument.
Mine is this Christopher Moron guy was so pissed he had to pay the buyer's broker for bringing that buyer that he sued NAR.
Wait, before we get into this rant portion, I think we should still continue talking about what agents should do. I think, like we just said,
what else do you think agents should do?
One thing, agents, obviously, they should not say they're free. I think also, in preparation for this, they really need to shift their marketing message. They need to go all in on listings. And even for someone like you, Zach, I mean, Zach, would you agree with me that the longer you're in the business, if you can endure the business and it's a career, not like a job, right? You transition and become like a listing agent. You'd agree with that, right?
I mean, that's the goal. Listings are king.
Right? Listings are king, right? And they say on average, most people's...
guys, if you're not in real estate, buyers take way more time because you have to drive places, you have to write offers, you have to talk to the wife and then talk to the husband, and then they want to have their grandma give their opinion, then they want to look at the house again, and that's all cool and all that kind of stuff. But as a business, when you have a listing, you get the listing agreement, you market the property, you get great pictures, you get the house cleaned up, you basically present the house and it's mostly online. Make sure that it looks great online and you post it and put it in the MLS and all that stuff. And then all the buyers work for you and come to you, especially in the seller's market. And it's a better experience as a real estate agent.
As long as they're doing something right, they're going to get one buyer out of every listing. But even you, a guy who's been in the business for a really long time, you still work with some buyers, don't you?
For sure.
Yeah, I know. So I think it's probably,
we always will.
You sold earlier this year a $10 million listing on Alta Cedro.
Oh, God.
That's a big compensation, and you repped the buyer. So like this can affect even you.
I mean, the biggest deals I've done this year so far, north of 10 and 20, have been buyers.
Okay. All right. So I also think
I'm finding I'm bringing them these properties. 3 of them were off market.
Yeah.
And it's not just the finding.
Well,
it's
by the way,
full
off
service
market
that goes through from beginning to end.
Off market's supposed to be illegal too. I mean, that's a whole other episode on clear cooperation. But the other thing I want to say is I think that
you mean I shouldn't have said that.
Agents, yeah, you're right. Freeze.
Oops.
You're due, freeze. I think agents have also.
I think that happens in California a lot, where they'll have like off-market listings that only the other agents can know about and stuff like that, and that is a dubious legal thing. But here in Jersey, or I'm not at whatever level they're talking about, where this is whatever. I don't have any experience with it.
They got to set more appointments.
I'd like to.
Before. And what got you here?
Charlie appointment over here.
Will get you half as far in the coming year. The calls you made, the appointments you set, the videos you posted, double it. Listings are the currency of this market, and appointments are how you get them. By the way, you call me Johnny Appointments. Right
I called
here,
you Charlie Appointments.
Sorry, you call me
either way.
You call me Charlie Appointments. Right here, which our audience can't see, is the number 300 down to number 1, 300, 299, 298. And I just turned to one of my team members and I said, "Look, we're lagging. You know, we've already got we've gone on 95 appointments this year, and we're right now at 70 million closed and forecasted based on what's currently in escrow." I said, "Wouldn't it be nice if we had gone on 150 appointments already this year, or we went on 300 this year? We'd be at 210 million in our small little group."
How'd you come up with the 300?
I just set a goal based on the appointments that we had gone on last year, and it's, you know, we had a few more agents, but we want our goals to be realistic. We wanted to be aspirational.
All right, get to the thing
but I do think it's really powerful, because when I turned to him and I said, "Wow, isn't this wild?" Like, because we have the number.
Right, hold on.
It comes down to volume at some point.
No, the first coffee, not like ever.
I think this conversation's interesting, but for you guys, I want to get to the lawsuit, see what else they have to say.
You wish you were at those numbers?
All right, so yeah, I mean, so like our final take. You brought up this Rex thing early on, where like 600 agents were on a call and they said we would not go show listings if they were lower compensation. Right? I'm getting that right.
Get back to that.
I think that, and you tell me what you do, but I think I know the answer. When I search for listings on my multiple listing service, we have the ability to search based upon the commission that's being offered.
You can.
I never do that because I trust there's going to be an industry standard.
Well, that kind of makes the argument, because if you can filter out where they're offering lower commission, clients might not even see those properties. You're not going to send them. He's saying he doesn't do that, which is fine, and I wouldn't do that. I didn't even know you could. So if you can in our system, I didn't know, but that's kind of nasty.
Standard, or like a little bit below it. Sometimes maybe a little bit above it.
Well, we also have our clients' best interest in mind, because we're in it for the long haul. So we're not just like, commission cutting here based on what we find. We're finding the best properties.
That works, but when someone's can't pay their light bill, then that gets a little hairy.
For our client, that comes first and foremost.
Sure.
I don't even look at commission breakdowns like you.
So you should, because sometimes they get them wrong. I caught one the other day where they had it in as 2%. It's 2.5%. That's
wow.
Well, how'd you know that?
Because I looked at the commission breakdown. Oh, you said you don't look at commission breakdowns. The commission breakdown is a form that we use internally?
No, I know, but if you have the buyer, how are you finding that the commission for your representation of the buyer was 2.5 instead of 2?
Oh. So we're saying the same thing. The CSO is the 2.5%. You and I are saying the same thing. What I'm saying is that I never look at it. However, if this goes through and then all of a sudden there's a large group that's advertising 0 or 1%, that's going to force us as agents at scale to not prioritize those properties, because
that causes
most real estate agents,
that actually causes the problem that I think this lawsuit is trying to solve worse.
It's in our country, probably make like $60K,
because now people are going to discriminate against properties more that are offering lower commission, or if you don't know what the commission is,
or less a year. That's not a living wage, really, I think, in a lot of metropolitan cities today.
No, so they're going to fight for it because they'd rather be on salary. Those guys, they'll probably make just as much being salaried.
Well, there's going to only be so many salaried agents that the corporations can use, and as the market goes up and down, they're going to lay people off.
It's not the spirit of real estate anyway. You come to the table, a buyer and a seller, with a price in mind on both sides, and this guy wants to sell, this guy wants to buy, and you come to a meeting of the minds and you've negotiated, just like the commission. It's all negotiable. It's all what you put in it is what you're going to get back.
I just feel like,
I do think the companies are like Zillow, Redfin, they are trying to take that away. And that is a good thing that NAR is fighting, I guess, at least for agents, because if you're going to have a salaried person that just ho-hum showing you houses, because you're always probably going to have negotiation. I don't think they're going to be able to CarMax real estate transactions because there's so much inefficiency and there's just a lot of flexibility. It's not like going to Walmart or buying something or even a car. There's just a lot to it where there's going to have to be negotiations. You have inspections and contingencies and all kinds of stuff. And is some salaried person, other businesses or professions like sports agents or lawyers don't operate this way on complex purchases. There's a really cool private jet sales guy, and I bet you he is not getting a salary. He is getting a commission or a percentage, or I don't know if he owns the planes or whatever. And I wish I knew his channel, because you check it out if you're into sales or just cool stuff, because his demeanor and the way he sells is really awesome. But basically what I'm saying is, in certain type of sales, a flat fee person to manage that sale or to be a custodian for the sale and represent a client is not going to work, in my opinion.
Two other things I want to quickly add. One, the reason why the listing brokerage negotiates the compensation with the seller is because, generally speaking, the buyer's agents, or the people who are mostly doing buyers, they're not as experienced, or they don't have as much mileage in the game. So they allow us on the listing side to go fight for the gross compensation, which we share. And 99.99% of the time, we split it down the middle.
I like this right.
That's number one.
And that's one of the things that the plaintiffs are fighting, is they want that exposed. They feel like you shouldn't be in control as the listing side of the buyer broker's commission.
And then the other thing is, you and I were talking about this before we came on, and you were like, the Merle guy, he's upset because he's like, why should I have to pay the buyer's commission? He's negotiating against me. Why am I paying him? I think what Merle's forgetting is that if the deal doesn't go through, the buyer's agent gets zero. It's not like they get a little. We don't still owe him money.
Right.
We're
Zero.
incentivizing a buyer's agent to move it forward, and not to be duplicitous and manipulate their clients, just to give them a push when they need it. They need that objectivity, because buyers.
So this is a thing. The people get and actually this is seems like the whole lawsuit. People get stuck on little things or get emotional in a deal, and actually the buyer and the seller's agent can help solve that, because sometimes people will hurt their own interest by being upset about something dumb. And so that's why the commission structure makes sense.
And sellers are historically subjective and emotional. Do you have anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
Well, it's all a negotiation. I think like you need that leverage as an agent to be able to throw in at a time where everyone else is participating to make the deal. There may be times, whether it's someone who's fighting for a $300,000 house or a two billionaires fighting, you throwing something in when everyone else shows a team effort and fair play, and that gets deals across the finish line. You need that leverage to play with.
I don't think they're thinking this through, just like the ULA thing. And now this wildlife ordinance thing, which, by the way, I have a really good understanding of right now. I think we should do an episode of it.
I mean, by the way, look.
Well, we say by the way a lot.
At a time when home prices and interest rates are particularly high, we should be working to develop policies and proposals that increase access to the American dream, not deny it.
Wait. Last thing.
Wait, I got a last thing too.
Fine. Okay, if you do, fine. But you know what I just realized?
What you got?
How many times do you get an email, particularly in a market like ours, where transactional volume's down because there's less buyers in the game, and they're like, we're paying 3.5%, 4%. Sellers are offering more to incentivize buyers' agents. Why are we now trying to remove this industry standard that is working? I don't find myself going on Instagram and seeing consumers being like, this is BS. We're to pay the people that literally, we're sitting here at the agency in Beverly Hills right now, right? Ground zero, one of the real estate centers of the universe. We get no salary. We get no benefits. We get no leads. And our checks are a little chunkier because why? Because sometimes it's months between checks. So I'm exaggerating a little in the time frame, but
you're right.
We're taking the risk, high risk, higher reward.
If you bring that buyer and help convince them that that house is right for them, and you've brought the buyer and you've negotiated the deal and you've run the transaction, fucking A, you're welcome.
Yeah, the buyer
should be. When I sell a house, when I sell a property, I don't rep myself because I'll get too fucking crazy. I'll bring someone else in. And if another agent brings me, if you bring me a buyer for my house that pays me what I want, I'm fucking happy to pay you, bro.
Right. You'd rep yourself.
I mean, I'd take the commission back from you, but I'd be happy.
I give it back.
But if someone brings me, if Clovis brings me a buyer and I'm happy with the price, fuck yeah, I'm paying you. Right. Why wouldn't I?
That's what they are kind of working for you, right?
To me,
they found somebody to buy the house.
This Christopher Morel guy, he's got another thing coming. He thinks we're going to take this laying down,
going up.
By the way,
the real
this is going to work against home buyers who are looking because they'll have to pay much more for that house.
Yeah,
right. In turn, it hurts sellers because less buyers will be able to afford that house. Oh my God,
you know what?
And they'll look to negotiate the price even further, or instead, we'll start looking at lower priced homes.
I wonder.
Everyone's affected. Do you see this?
I'm just starting to think like, do the MLSs become of less value if the real estate agents don't want to use them because of this? Anyway, we're going to watch these cases closely. And
that's an interesting point, because then what do you even need the MLS for? Because you could just go on Zillow and look at the stuff, because the agent notes and all that is the value and the buyer cooperation agreement commission. So interesting.
And we'll do another one of these when there's an update. The reason what stimulated this recently was because there was big news when the class was certified. NAR was trying to get the All
right, I'm done with this. Cool video. I like these guys so far. Seem cool. LA real estate, I'm a bit jealous because they make big money on less volume, but it is what it is. And I wonder what do you guys think about today? Tell me what you think about HOAs from the first half of this stream, and giving up your freedom, giving up your sovereignty to corporate overseers and overlords. Why would you give deed and title? Why would you chip away the power of your deed and title to them? And secondly, did you learn anything about how real estate works? Do you think that buyers should pay for their own agents? How do you think that's going to play out in this market where interest rates and prices are up and buyers are already kind of at a disadvantage? I think there are some pluses. But I think there's a lot of minuses that might put a damper on a lot of buyers, especially on the lower end, because they're going to go unrepresented and have a hard time. So, and I'm a man of the people. So, although I've become more and more of an elitist as time goes by. So that is the stream. Remember, anytime you hop on the stream, I am doing Q&A. I will answer any of your questions in future streams. I try to do them on Wednesday nights, normally at 7. This one was at 9. I had a land board meeting, and actually it was pretty quick, but Wednesdays, and I think Fridays is another good day. I'm not promising every Friday, but I'll be on there. You guys might be out having fun. I'll be here providing information, streaming, talking about stuff because I'm boring. That's all I got, guys. Hopefully this information was helpful. Comment, like the video, share. Let me know what you think. How can I improve? Obviously, I'm just starting to do these this way. And see you.